iHostage is a gripping psychological thriller that delves into themes of power dynamics, trauma, and identity within the framework of a tense hostage scenario, blurring the line between victim and aggressor. The narrative begins in a typical college lecture hall where Professor Lena Monroe, a charismatic yet stern psychology instructor, lectures on crisis behaviors, particularly focusing on hostage situations, Stockholm Syndrome, and trauma responses, subtly hinting at unresolved personal issues beneath her composed facade. The initial calm is swiftly disrupted as post-lecture Lena finds herself taken hostage in her office by a masked armed intruder. The kidnapper displays a chilling precision and cold demeanor while forcing Lena to bind herself, subsequently subjecting her to personal interrogations regarding her past. Lena quickly comprehends that this is not a random act of violence. The assailant possesses intimate knowledge of her life, indicating a deeply personal motive. Despite his insistence, Lena, bewildered and fearful, denies recognizing him. As hours linger, the tension escalates within the cramped setting of Lena's office, evolving into a psychological duel. The assailant demands a confession regarding a perceived crime, yet Lena steadfastly refuses to concede guilt. Flashbacks begin to unveil snippets of her history: an earlier failed hostage negotiation, a child's heartfelt drawing, and hints of a disastrous overseas mission. The film masterfully drips details to the audience, enhancing the suspense. Unlike typical hostage scenarios involving ransoms or media spectacle, the intruder seeks answers rather than retribution. His psychological manipulation involves replaying recordings and precisely recounting Lena's past in a manner that strikes at her core. He appears to be less inclined towards physical harm, aiming instead to extract a buried truth from Lena. Amidst her terror, Lena gradually transitions from passive victim to strategic player, leveraging her psychological expertise to navigate the perilous situation. Simultaneously, external law enforcement responds after an emergency alert is triggered, installing a hostage negotiation team led by seasoned agent Robert Greaves. The dynamic between Robert and Lena complicates matters. The two share a convoluted past, hinting at his potential involvement in the events that have led to this harrowing encounter. As he works to negotiate with the kidnapper through communication channels, it becomes evident that the assailant has astutely anticipated standard SWAT protocols. His demands are clear: no SWAT involvement or deceit, only a public platform for Lena to lay bare her truths. Through its intricate narrative, iHostage challenges the audience's perceptions of morality and justice, forcing them to grapple with the complexities of trauma, accountability, and human connection in extreme circumstances. Inside the room, Lena engages in a psychological battle with her captor, gradually piecing together his identity through subtle cues. She suspects he could be linked to a hostage crisis in Syria, connected to a covert military operation she once advised. As their confrontation unfolds, his facade begins to crack, revealing deep-seated emotions tied to loss, which reinforces Lena's theory. Flashbacks reveal Lena's past as a consultant for a covert military extraction team. During a high-stakes mission to rescue Western hostages in the Middle East, her strategic input contributed to a disastrous outcome, with multiple hostages, including a child, losing their lives. This child might have been Khalid's sister or daughter. While Lena was never officially blamed, the burden of guilt has haunted her since. Khalid, the sole survivor of that ill-fated mission, confronts Lena with fervor, condemning her theoretical approach to life and death decisions. He demands justice not through violence but by forcing Lena to confess publicly about her role, naming the agencies involved and taking accountability for the disaster. Lena initially resists, clinging to the justification that she was merely an advisor devoid of decision-making power. However, as Khalid escalates the psychological pressure and reveals that he has rigged the room with explosives, her defenses begin to crumble. Under immense strain, Lena admits to having been aware of the high civilian risk during the mission, yet prioritizing the political implications of the rescue over potential human costs. What was once presented as pragmatic reasoning now appears disturbingly detached, revealing the chilling reality of her decisions. Outside authorities consider storming the building, but Lena intervenes by securing a line of communication, urging them to hold off. She insists that she can resolve the situation without resorting to violence. In a moment of inspiration, she proposes a live joint broadcast to share their stories with the world as a means of reconciliation, allowing the truth to emerge. Khalid, though initially hesitant, ultimately agrees. During the live stream, watched by law enforcement and later leaked to the public, Lena candidly reveals the mission details and her involvement, while Khalid articulates his trauma, anger, and the loved ones he lost. Their raw and emotional exchange exposes the complexity of their intertwined fates, highlighting the profound impact of a shared tragedy that left them positioned as adversaries in its aftermath. As the harrowing encounter unfolds, Dr. Lena Monroe, a well-respected psychology professor, finds her expertise tested in an unexpected manner. After an insightful lecture where she discussed trauma and human behavior, Lena's day takes a drastic turn when a masked intruder, Khalid holding a gun, forces her into a hostage situation. Tension rises as Khalid's intent becomes clear. This is not just a robbery but a confrontation with a personal history interwoven with guilt. Khalid reveals his identity, accusing Lena of being complicit in an international operation that has led to the deaths of innocents during a botched hostage rescue. Flashbacks illustrate Lena's past as a civilian analyst, providing psychological insights to military operations, hinting at the burden of decisions that influenced tragic outcomes. The dynamic shifts as the exchange reveals Khalid's complex motivations. He seeks truth, not violence. He forces Lena to restrain herself with duct tape and zip ties, escalating the psychological tension of their encounter. Lena, though frightened, maintains her composure, probing for understanding as Khalid articulates his grief and anger. As they converse, Lena's psychological training enables her to navigate their tense dialogue, yet she struggles under the weight of her past actions. The threat of violence looms, but it transforms into a confrontation centered on accountability and personal responsibility. In a gripping climax, instead of detonation, Khalid chooses to surrender, a decision that stuns Lena and leaves her utterly exhausted. This act of turning oneself in, choosing to let the world witness rather than resorting to violence, marks a significant character shift for both Khalid and Lena. In the wake of the incident, the media frenzy fuels speculation and political ramifications, ultimately leading Lena to resign from her academic role and retreat from public life, haunted by her past. Simultaneously, Khalid faces prosecution, yet public sentiment is mixed. Many view him as a victim of larger systemic issues. The fallout brings to light deep societal questions surrounding blame and the impacts of silence. The film concludes with a poignant moment as Lena records a private journal entry grappling with the complexities of truth, the cost of inaction, and the necessity of accountability. The closing shot focuses on her face, capturing the essence of a person caught in the struggle between her past decisions and the weight of her reality, neither a villain nor a hero, but a figure deeply reflective of her journey. Outside, an emergency alert initiates a security lockdown as SWAT teams and negotiators led by Robert Greaves, a seasoned hostage negotiator with a complicated history with Lena, arrive at the scene. The team's priority is to establish communication with the hostage taker. However, the captor, who identifies himself as Khalid, barricades all avenues of contact and activates jammers to stall attempts to thwart his plans. Inside the building, the tension escalates as Khalid becomes adamant about making Lena confess to her past decisions. He confronts her with various pieces of evidence, old intelligence memos, newspaper articles, and even a child's drawing, which deeply unsettle Lena. These reminders prompt her to recall a specific incident, a young girl who lost her life as a result of a mission she had overseen. Lena realizes that her decisions made from a distance in an operations room contributed to a catastrophic chain of events that altered lives irreparably, including Khalid's. Khalid reveals that he was among the hostages during that mission. Although he survived, he lost both his family and homeland in the process. His years spent studying Lena's career have led him to engineer this moment, intent on forcing her to confront the emotional ramifications of her past decisions that she has long intellectualized but never fully acknowledged. Lena counters with skepticism, challenging Khalid's methods and questioning his sanity. She calls out his hypocrisy, arguing that under the pretext of delivering justice, he is perpetuating more harm. In the midst of this psycho-emotional confrontation, Greaves faces significant challenges in trying to enter the building due to Khalid's intricate security measures. Aware of Lena's remarkable ability to communicate effectively under intense pressure, he advocates for caution, believing there is still a chance she can persuade Khalid to de-escalate the situation. Flashbacks reveal Lena as a younger, more idealistic version of herself, an individual who passionately sought to apply psychological science to international dilemmas, prioritizing logic and statistics over emotions. The traumatic fallout from the failed rescue mission profoundly shattered this idealism. Despite being physically restrained to a chair, Lena gradually discovers opportunities to reclaim some control within the narrative. As their conversation evolves, she starts to guide the dialogue, hoping to shift the dynamics of power in this high-stakes standoff. Her strategic engagement with Khalid's grievances may prove crucial in the unfolding efforts to resolve the crisis and save lives both inside and outside of the building. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.